their 29 points that day. This is the team they face, the champions. Wellens is back for them at full-back. Stewart, Smith, Newlove and Albert, Sculthorpe and Long. And the forwards, Britt, Hyam, Stankovic, Joint, Yonkers and Hooper. Late change, Mickey Hyam coming in at hooker. Bennett, Edmondson drops to the bench then, Gardner and Jones, and the coach Ian Millwood. Now Castleford, Gibson at full-back, Price, Johnson, Eager and Rogers, or the skipper and Lennon. No Mitch Healy, sadly for them. Sykes, Bartrim, Lynch, Smith, Fritz and Hudson. A pretty good starting 13 and some strength on this bench too. Mellor, Harland, Maloney and Jackson. Coach is that man Graham Stedman, former Castleford Tigers star of course. And there is the first tackle of the game, but good ground laid forward still by Andy Johnson. It was Andy Lynch, the other Andy, and my apologies.
I must say, Eddie, that the tactics from the Tigers tonight have to be extremely positive. They can't just come here and try to contain this Saints outfit. They know that it doesn't matter what position that Saints are in the field of play, they can come up with wonderful tries. But they've got to be positive too.
Danny Orr with the first deep kick. He's gone for a 40-20 early. But over on that far side, winger Darren Albert had moved back and he brings it forward, but not too much upfield. Dale Fritz in there quickly with the brand new hairstyle for Super League 8, bleach blonde. And here is Paul Wellens. Great to see him back. First Super League appearance as a say of the year. He was, of course, injured in the 3rd minute of the grand final, fractured cheekbone. He's had knee surgery as well, but thankfully for St Helens he's back and fit again.
Good tackle by Ryan Hudson there, the prop forward Darren Britt juggled with that ball. That's a good kick and it's a good chase too.
Anthony Stewart leading the way. Darren Rogers tackled deep inside his own half of the field, and the Tigers now with a job to do.
That's where to put it, right in the corner. You could see there that Darren Rogers had no way out. When you dissect the fullback and the winger, they know that their backs are going to be turned, so therefore they can be easily tackled and put to ground.
Castleford then, they're the men in possession in the shape of Nathan Sykes. He bounces off Hooper. Hooper hangs on to his shirt tails, couldn't get the ball away. And there's Bartrim, puts the high kick up. And it's bounced inside the field of play, and eventually it disappears over the far side.
Well, he did the right thing there. Albert didn't commit himself one way or the other, but an important player, this fella for the Tigers, Wayne Bartrim. Got plenty of experience. In the past, he has been known to be somewhat of a hothead, but he's settled down here with the Tigers and really is a linchpin for their attack.
This is the way the matches between these two go. Oh, that's great work there by Eager. Darren Smith trying to offload in a seemingly impossible situation.
Well, that was stupid play. Messing around, they became too fancy. There's one thing being confident, there's another thing, and as Stewart... No, he hasn't. I thought he'd stolen the ball there from Michael Smith.
Pass back on the inside, finds Andy Lynch again. Lynch and Castleford now are 3 metres short of the line. It's Bartrim who finds Danny Orr. It goes wide then to Mark Lennon. Mark Lennon back on the inside. Hudson, good tackling, good scrambling defence from Yonkers and Hyam. And there's Bartrim again. It's with Lennon. The ball out wide. Johnson is there. Johnson's going to be forced over the sideline, is he? No. Wayne Price was there to add a little bit of weight to that situation.
Beautiful play there by Sculthorpe. Ball and all, made sure that they couldn't offload.
Good hit by Joint.
Solid as well.
Last tackle. Are Saints going to survive this spat of pressure? High kick from Danny Orr. And the ball has bobbled and it's going to be a drop out underneath the sticks. Saints didn't take that cleanly at all.
Well, they didn't defuse the high kick, did they, at all? And they were all at sea. He's going to be a bit rusty. This is the mistake here, trying to offload, trying to be fancy. Far too much traffic knocking around there, and there was no one honking the horn. And how close can you get with the situation? And as I mentioned before, that man there, Ian Millwood, realises that Paul Wellens, he has to be a bit match rusty, and it is good tactics from the Tigers to make sure he gets plenty of high kicks.
Here is Bartram, that's a great run, that's a good hit. Terrific hit there from John Stankovic. Quick play the ball though by Castleford. It's with Danny Orr, good ball as well to Eager, and he is wrapped up by Sean Long.
Well, the crowd thought it was a bit high on Eager, but he went for the ball in the shoulder. Nothing wrong with that.
Danny Orr to Nathan Sykes, and Sykes is dropped just 10 metres from this St Helens line. It's great pressure here from Castleford Tigers early, and Danny Orr comes back on the inside, flicks the pass away. Can they hang on to it? They can. They're over. First try, Lynch. Andy Lynch with the first try for the Tigers. What a successor to Dean Sampson in that number 10 jersey for the Tigers. And Andy Lynch and Ian Millwood, well, his reaction says it all really, and he's looking for the replay, waiting for it on the big screen, wants to see where it all went wrong.
Well, it went wrong a couple of play the balls before that, when they offloaded in an impossible situation. What a take though by the prop forward Lynch. He took the gamble, did all, threw the dummy, he knew he was going to be there, took the gamble, it should have been taken. They stood around and watched it bubble, he didn't. TRY, Tigers on the roll, beautiful step. Went low, that's confidence, that's what they needed.
So Bartram, the fairly easy kick for him, and he makes it a 6-0 lead for the Tigers here on one of their biggest bogey grounds. Saints 0, Castleford Tigers 6, and Andy Lynch, the try scorer, one of Super League's most improved players last year, and there he is. What a start for him, what a start for the Tigers, the England A international.
Well, you take your chances, and it was St Helens that came up with a big mistake in their own 20-metre line.
Ian Millwood was always a little bit concerned about this fixture, knowing that Castleford had the 2 weeks preparation. But it was a question of whether they were absolutely rightly prepared and up for this, and by the looks of the opening 6 3/4 minutes, they most certainly are. Injury news though from Bill.
Eddie, we saw Chris Joint leave the field, and it's an early blow for Saints because their skipper has gone off with a dislocated finger, and he came off the field onto the bench. The team doctor immediately tried to reset the finger and decided that the best bet was to take Chris Joint back to the dressing room to try and sort the problem out. But that is an early setback for the Saints.
Deep kick is too long from Mark Lennon, but they have got their defence set. A lot of teams use this ploy, and the referee wants the kick taken when he says, and that's now. And here is Darren Britt, and I must say Castleford looked as though they crept forward and were a bit offside then. Ian Smith trying to stamp his authority on this match early. That's a big hit. All Castleford, and a penalty to Castleford. He didn't get to his feet and play the ball properly.
Well, one of these professionals going to learn. They've made it quite clear, and you can see there he never made any attempt. You've got to regain your feet and then place the ball down. It's no good shaking your head. This could cost you 2 points right on the halfway line.
Mark Edmondson, the man who didn't get to his feet, and Ian Millwood and John Sharp know that they're in a battle. 40 minutes, or rather 40 metres away from the St Helens post, Bartram with this penalty because the ball was not played properly by Mark Edmondson.
Well, Stuart Cummings has spent a lot of time with all the clubs explaining the new rules or variations of them, so that no excuse.
Bartram then with this penalty for an 8-0 lead. Struck it cleanly, gets the 2. Wayne Bartram, 2 good kicks, and Castleford with an 8-0 lead.
2 mistakes and points on the board yet again. Well, that is a sin.
You have to get to your feet and then put the ball down. You don't get up anymore with the ball on the floor and use it as a hoist. So the champions rocked in the opening minutes. And here's the try scorer, Andy Lynch.
The problem for the Saints at the moment, they cannot get possession.
And their skipper's off the field injured.
Doesn't help their cause, but St Helens, they are so eager to get possession. They love nothing else but being able to keep this ball alive. But I must say I'm absolutely ecstatic over the way that Graham Steadman's tactics are working so well.
Well, they
have come out with confidence.
They have, and they believe that they're a top 4 side in the making this year, the Tigers. Playing like this, who would argue? I bet you won't, Phil.
No, they've got off to a great start. You know, I've got a massive amount of admiration for Darren Britt, the front row for St Helens. Consistently puts in 20 tackles, takes the ball forward 20 times and gains a tremendous amount of ground. And to me tonight, if Castleford are to win, they need personal best performances from the front rowers, Andy Lynch and Nathan Sykes. They've got off to a tremendous start. They've taken Castleford forward, and that's given the platform and the lift to the whole side, really, from which they've started the game.
Tigers ahead 8-0 here. Look at this after 10 minutes at Headingley. Is it going to be a night of shocks? Huddersfield are ahead 6 points to 4 against Leeds Rhinos. That is Super League 8. Sculthorpe, little flick out the back door, couldn't be picked up by Wellens. I think it was forward anyway.
It certainly was forward.
Damien Gibson feeds Rogers. Good tackle by Anthony Stewart.
Good half break now by Sculthorpe, but a little bit impatient, trying to offload so early in the tackle. Obviously knew that Sean Long was skirting on the outside, but they want to get back to basic, Saints. Make sure the defence is solid. I'm sure that Ian Millwood will get that message out, and also just work themselves back into this game. They're a little shocked at the moment.
Lynch, he has just scored something of a collector's item, Andy Lynch. It's his 6th try in 90 appearances for Castleford. Fantastic night for him already. This is Wayne Price. Boy, they look full of it, don't they, the Tigers at the moment?
They certainly do. And this man releasing the kick.
That's a great kick. Long is trying to protect Anthony Stewart and does. Long is the dummy half. Darren Smith drives it in. Good tackle low down. The tackle was by the fullback Gibson. That tackle is by Andy Lynch.
Well, not only are the Saints players a little bit rattled, you can hear the home crowd here. They're also rattled.
Well, they're getting on the back of the referee. They're saying that they're offside every play of the ball. Not so. Here is Stankovic. That's good play to Darren Britt. Great offload. Darren Britt can't get through though. Last tackle here for Saints. Hyam to Long. Kick down the line. Oh, it stands up. Gibson reads it. Good chase, led by Newlove. And also there was Paul Sculthorpe.
Go too early, Mark.
Here is Price again for Castleford. They beat Wigan 19-10, 3 tries to 0. Halifax 20 points to 10. They've only conceded 1 try so far in Super League. That's certainly top 4 statistics.
Well, a solid start by the Tigers, and they'll be cock-a-hoop about it. They really are going to control it, though.
Brilliant by Michael Smith.
Such a gamble, though, isn't it? But he gets away with it nearly 90% of the time. One of the best offloaders in the game.
Here is Danny Orr. Now it's Nathan Sykes. Nathan Sykes gets Castleford into St Helens territory. We're on the last tackle, this set of 6. Danny Orr bounces off the legs of Hooper. Play on. Chip over the top by Lynch. Nearly came up for him as well. Penalty offside against Hyam.
Well, he feels that it came from an onside position. Chip over the top and it just bounced around. Well, maybe not.
But it came off Sculthorpe, and I suppose he definitely made a play for it.
Well, I'm not so sure that anybody touched it. Either way, the official has seen it different. Well, just keep chipping away. And it's a solid piece of wood, isn't it, this St Helens Championship side. He looks a bit bemused as Mickey Hyam. Late replacement, he was selected.
Well, it came off Sculthorpe's side. Mickey Hyam was in front of Paul Sculthorpe, so from an offside position, dropped on the football. It can't be accidental offside in that case. And so that's why Bartram has this opportunity to take the Tigers to double figures. 2 from 2. He's only 24 metres away and he's banged in front. 3 from 3 for Bartram. Castleford 10, Saints 0. Champions rocking on their heels at Knowsley Road.
Certainly are. This is the offload by one of the best in the business. Look at that, he attracts in 3, and once you offload there, there's obviously got to be some gap in the defence.
Terrific offload, but a great take also by Danny Orr.
Isn't it a great story, though, about Michael Smith? A lot of people thought that he was completely on the scrap heap, and he came back to Castleford. They gave him the opportunity, and he's been rewarded by being drafted into the Kiwi side last year. He's on the boil.
He is. He made his Test debut for the Kiwis in the international in France. Didn't play against Great Britain, but he did it in the French international, and here he is again. And he set his stall out last year, to be fair to him, to make that Kiwi squad, and make it he did.
Well, it's ironic it was that was forward. It was at this ground, Eddie.
Ironic cheers from the St Helens faithful. They told Ian Smith it was forward, and he agrees.
I think he's got it right.
I'm not sure.
It's a pretty bad angle. This will see it a little bit better.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, neither am I. Geez, I hate agreeing with you. I really, really do. This has been an awful season for me. I've been nice to you.
And about time too. Wellens. Almost away.
I won't do it twice. About time too. One's enough.
Hooper.
More like it from Saints, but they've got to keep their calm.
Stankovic.
If they panic, they'll just play right into the hands of the Tigers.
Sean Long. Here's Sculthorpe. Good ball out wide to Newlove. Good defence. Great tackle from Johnson. Wellens shining into the line. Hyam quickly off the ground. Long with a kick out wide. This is for Stewart. Oh, great tackle. Great ball and all tackle by Michael Eager.
Went right at the throat there. Bang. And Stewart, he felt as though he was just hit by a 10-ton truck there. He's a tough hombre, isn't he, Michael Eager? One of the best tacklers. Look at this fellow looking for work.
Hold 2.
Michael Smith to his feet. Bartram's the dummy half. Here is Ryan Hudson taking on Stankovic. 2 of the best young forwards in the business there. Hudson 23, Stankovic 23 as well. Deep kick, 40-20 he went for. Darren Albert. Oh! Knock on. Unforced error.
Well, this fella doesn't have to be told. Well, it didn't appear to be going backwards, and then he had another one, so he had 2 bites of the cherry and lost them both. The tree fell down. But what's wrong with the foot? We talk about basic errors that St Helens are making. Castleford will be quite happy to a possession here. Ironically, the last encounter here, Eddie, they both scored 3 tries. It was goal kicking that was a difference. Maybe it could be the other way around. Bartram is in form.
Gibson the dummy half. Ryan Hudson again. Good tackle by Darren Smith. Picked him up, dumped him to the deck. Quick play the ball though, just the same. Michael Smith. Bartram. Danny Orr pops the ball back. Andy Lynch again. Out the back door to Orr. Another offload. They're taking a chance.
Another play on.
And they took 1 chance too many.
Certainly came off a St Helens player, but the new rule indicates that if you're going into the tackle, listen to this crowd. This is a big night for the official Ian
That's
Smith.
a great ball. Hooper. Looking to offload. Damien Gibson got a great tackle in on him.
Very slow on the second line of attack. Should have made better of that. He was looking and looking to offload. There was no one there.
Another St Helens player is down and injured. Sculthorpe offloaded, got clattered. Newlove plays the ball. Darren Albert. Britt. Back it goes to Wellens. Here now is Sean Long. It's on the last. The kick from Long eventually. It's flicked back and it's play on. Long has it. Long gets it away to Stewart. This is on the last, remember. Wellens will dab the kick down the line. And Gibson picks it up right to his own try line.
Did well there, Gibson. Not only was just getting himself into a good position, but when the tackles came towards him, he just ducked underneath, made sure he got into the field of play. This is going to be a classic. No doubts about that. Both sides eager to keep this ball alive.
8-6 at Headingley after 20 minutes. Leeds have reclaimed the lead. Here at Nosey Road, we're at the 20-minute mark as well, and Castleford, as you can see, leading by 10. Danny Orr. Rogers hacks the ball forward. It was on the last. Wellens waits, collects. And Wellens is grounded just inside his own half of the field. And Anthony Stewart waits at dummy half.
Looks a bit sluggish. Phil, I just get the impression that Paul Wellens not right and not ready to come into the fray.
Well, I think maybe him and a few of his teammates haven't really been at their best. Sean Long, to me, is the player, though, in the zone, as is Paul Sculthorpe. And if you're going to beat St Helens, you have to concentrate for 60 seconds of every single one of the 80 minutes in the game. They can score from any time, and they're looking like they might do it just now.
It's with Hyam. It's with Sculthorpe. There's the pass, but that...
Back to 6.
It's back to 6, is it? The
no,
referee
that's the
hasn't
new
said.
rule. The new rule.
Hooper.
He went into the tackle, even though it did hit the Tiger arm.
It's the last one, and Long will hoist the kick out wide, looking for Darren Albert. Albert gets the try. He hasn't given it yet. He hasn't given it. He wants to check.
In the grounding. He might have dropped it.
Onside, and he wonders whether there was a little fumble in the grounding. And he doesn't have to check the knock on, he says. Danny Orr asked the question, the referee said no. Offside, and grounding is all he's interested in.
Well, I think he got it down pretty safe. Well, they're the forwards, and you can see Mickey Hyam in there. I think he was behind Johnson, who's had a great game so far in defence. They really put a high ball up, didn't they, towards Wayne Price. They were expecting that, and I think he's okay. Yeah, he's going to be okay. This is going to be TRY time. Well, the build-up has been absolutely superb. Well, when you go out wide, long kicks on that 10-metre line, and the ball is well into the air before he comes across. Watch, he's the last man on the left-hand side. He's onside by a mile. Good tactics. The build-up by Saints, the previous 2 sets of 6 has been superb, and they've been justly rewarded. Price did everything to try to make it bobble. No, nothing wrong with that. This will come up on the TRY. And listen to this crowd here when it comes up on that big screen.
Have Castleford conceded only their second try in Super League? Yes, they have. Darren Albert, second try of the year. Try against Witness, that was an 80-metre effort. This, an 8-metre effort.
Well, they've played the percentage game. It was Castleford that was ruling the roost, and Saints slowly but surely, and full credit to them. The quality, the build-up has been good. They've been denied on a couple of occasions, but not on this one. Great combination, half-back winger. How many do we see scored like that in Super League these days? Can he add the 2?
Sean Long with the conversion attempt. Whoa, he's in form as well. I think you could be right, Steve-O. We are in for a classic. 6-10, Saints are behind to the Tigers.
Well, it rocked them, and there was a man that came up with one of the errors.
80 metres a fortnight ago, Steve-O. 8 metres tonight, still worth 4.
Sure is. Seen him scramble for a couple of inches. Doesn't matter as long as it's over that whitewash. But Ian Millwood will be ecstatic, mainly due to the fact that because Saints early in the game made so many mistakes, and that they have the power and the confidence to just calm things down. Remember, the skipper's not out there, but I can assure you one man will be leading in the way, and that's Paul Sculthorpe.
They play such adventurous stuff deep in their own half, the Saints. When they get their tails up, they're very difficult to stop. And here now is Darren Smith taking on Rogers. Rogers eventually getting him down. Stewart the dummy half.
Poor defence there by the Tigers. They're getting very slow to get back, especially in the marking positions 1 and 2. There's Chris Joint urging on the side.
The pass was long. It was great defence. Dale Fritz and Nathan Sykes. Long, wide to Sculthorpe. Sculthorpe, beautiful ball. Wellens gets the pass away, and Tim Yonkers gets the second St Helens try. 2 in 3 minutes for Saints. And from 10-0 down, the champions are level. Wonderful try.
As near perfect as you come and get. Paul Sculthorpe, as I said, would be the man leading the way with Joint off the field of play. Watch the pass here. Through the dummy, sucked in Ryan Hudson. And the fullback, Paul Wellens, he fed Yonkers in for the try. Look at this. That is absolutely superb. Lennon went for the dummy. Hudson was sucked in. But it was the way that Sculthorpe created this. This is classic. They've been doing passes like that in rugby league for well over 100 years. It's simple, it's basic, but boy oh boy, it's effective.
Tim Yonkers with the try. And Long now to try and add his second conversion in quick succession and give St Helens the lead. Remarkable, really, after the way that Castleford took the game to them in the opening 20. The champions have nosed in front. 12-10. I said it was 2 in 3. It might even have been 2 in 2.
Look at that. You see how they sucked the men in. It was Andy Lynch that went through. Lennon was going out wide. And then this superb set-up pass. Good positioning there by Yonkers. Oh, breathtaking stuff.
Yonkers with the try. Another of Ian Millwood's play anywhere men. Here is Edmondson. Well, suddenly St Helens appear to have a roll-on. They have the wind at their backs. Britt, look at the way they eat the ground up. But at halfway, and there's only 3 tackles gone. Long.
Well, I said it was their biggest problem was the fact that they couldn't get hold of the football, and that was due to wonderful attacking play by the Tigers. But give this side an opportunity.
And it's suddenly swung around, that possession statistic. Long struggles to his feet. Irons the dummy half. Sculthorpe will hoist the kick.
Bit too far, well diffused.
Gibson did well. Tap restart, we're underway. They were all back onside, Castleford. St Helens caught a little bit.
Came from the goal area, so that's fine.
Here's Andy Lynch, his try game. Castleford, such a start. Bartrim.
Well, they're a bit shocked to the Tigers, and rightly so, but I must say, I don't know any rugby league team that could have prevented those 2 tries. Superb kick by Long, and that pass, well, that'll live in my memory for a long, long time. The pass from Paul Sculthorpe was worth the admission money alone.
40 metres away. Bartrim to Orr. Lennon slides the kick through. This time no fumble from Darren Albert, but a slip instead.
The invisible man got him there.
Darren Smith. Darren Smith. Quite a signing, Darren Smith, 34 years young. Centre for the last 2 for the injured Martin Gleeson.
Graham Stedman has to get the message out very, very quickly. You can see they're hanging back. Some are moving across the line, some aren't.
And now they're offside.
You must go up as one unit in a straight line in the defence, because St Helens have got so many. There's about half a dozen he could have selected. played the advantage and none forthcoming. Here's one of the culprits. But with so much skill in Sculthorpe and Long at halfback, they can create anything if the defence is not set up in one straight line.
8 metres away in the first tackle, and here is Edmondson. They're banged underneath the sticks now. They're setting for something down this way with Long and Hooper, and Hooper stretches out, scores. Did he know?
He said he's short. He didn't lose it. He said play the ball. Well, it looked to me as though he got on the whitewash.
Well, that's interesting, but the referee, Ian Smith, to be fair, he was in a wonderful position. Bullet pass from high and looking for Sculthorpe. Here's Long. Doesn't matter now. Has he got it down though?
Just check. I'm not sure what
He's
you're
just
going to
shaking.
Long got the ball down.
I think he did. I think he came over the shoulder.
It could be a career century for Sean Long if it has been grounded, and he seems to think it is.
Yeah, I think he's got it down okay. Just pops it out the back. Yes, full control.
They did everything to try and stop him.
Yeah, he's got full control of this. That's no problem.
100 career tries for Sean Long if this is given.
Just make sure. Yeah, I think he's got his arm and fingers on that one.
Well, we seem convinced, but video referee Steve Cross isn't. He wants another look.
Well, Fritz has certainly got the right arm in amongst the football. But I'm going to go for TRY.
Well, important not only in the context of this game, but for Sean Long himself, if it is. The try's given. That's 100 tries for Sean Long in his rugby league career. And he will enjoy that moment, but only if St Helens win. Now, was this on the line? No. The referee absolutely right.
Yeah, Jason Hooper had the opportunity.
And he didn't lose control of the ball. That's why they were allowed to play off.
But again, we see the pass, the quality of Sculthorpe. What's this? He sucked in 3. They went far too high. Damien Gibson paid the price. And the little wriggler in for his 100th. Can he add the 2 again?
Yes, he can. A perfect 6 for Sean Long, and an 8-point lead has materialised from a 10-point deficit. Sean Long, man of the moment, 100 career tries.
There you can see how he just sucks them in. And when you've got a situation like that, 3 men going for 1, not the best from the fullback Gibson. But Sean Long, what a turnaround.
7 tries now in all matches for St Helens this year. Sean Long is back to his best. The Aussies are here at the end of this season. Please, please, let the young man stay fit and healthy so he can take them on in that test series. And that's Mark Edmondson, who is feeling the pain. This is Stankovic. Well, St Helens were stunned for 20 minutes. The last 10 has been quite breathtaking. Tight game at Headingley. The Giants doing well, 8-all. Gibson picks it up. There's a phalanx of white shirts ahead of him. What a comeback, Phil, by the Saints.
You know, last week they had a period in the game in the cup match against Salford. In 18 minutes, they only allowed Salford to touch the ball once, and they racked up 7 tries in that time. When they're in that sort of form, it's vintage St Helens. I just love coming to this ground. The fans have a thirst for rugby, and the players have a thirst for success, and even the taste even better when they come from behind. They're just unstoppable at this time. But Castleford, if they can hang on for long enough, they'll get the possession back, and they've got enough potential and ability in their side to put some more points on the board.
Meanwhile, Saints running out of numbers. In fact, they've already got skipper Chris Joint on the bench with a dislocated finger, and now Mark Edmondson has come off with what looks like a back injury as well. Rib or back injury is a signal from the Saints bench. So this progress not without its problems for St Helens.
Great kick from Castleford, though, picked up by Stewart. And interestingly enough, the Castleford Tigers coach Graham Steadman has made what could be an important change. Paul Mellor, number 4, is on. The biggest close season signing from Cronulla, and the injury has kept him out. He is there to try and turn this match back in the Tigers' favour.
And it looks like Mellor has been utilised in the centres. Made his name at the Cronulla Sharks, playing on the wing, but he's no stranger to that position. Neither is he a stranger to the back three in the pack either. He's big enough, he's strong, and he's fast.
Wayne Price up the middle, greeted by Darren Britt.
That's what they need, a little bit more urgency.
Stuart Jones was there as well. Over halfway with Michael Smith.
There's good thinking there by the winger Price to come in just to try to put off this Saints defence. They need to get a roll on themselves, the Tigers. They've got all the kicking game in the world with Danny Orr there, but they must get into an attacking position.
Lennon, wide it goes to Hudson. Important tackle by Sculthorpe, that.
This will be the high one.
It's the last one, and it's Lennon, crossfield. Long trying to protect Stewart, and Stewart does well, under pressure from Eager.
Wonderful work there by Stewart. There was no way in the world that Darren Rogers were going to get anywhere near the man taking the football.
Darren Smith, Paul Wellens now.
And just there, can you see? He just handed him who got away, but when you both run into the same ball, they all do it. They all shepherd. That's a knock-on.
Well, it was a knock-on, and Dale Fritz did really well there because he was fighting and wrestling with Darren Britt for this ball. He did enough to cause the big fella problems. Had he pinched it, it would have been a penalty to St Helens. 2-in-1 in the tackle.
Well, as disappointed as Darren Britt, big Australian from Orange. But it's that type of a player. He wants to be looking for the offload, just like Michael Smith in the Castleford side. That's what makes them so good.
Yeah, well, he had a fantastic game against the Bradford Bulls here, didn't he, in round one, Darren Britt.
Ooh, that was nearly a strike against the head.
Not happy that it went in Ian Smith, so Lennon gets another opportunity.
I would have bottled that one.
Reinhardt. Tackled by Yonkers.
The glass variety, I mean, Eddie.
Not standing square, St Helens at the play of the ball.
No.
Can't take the tap until the official blows the whistle. Surely they'll take the 2 on offer.
I think they might. And they are. Paul Sculthorpe judged by the referee not to be standing square. Tim Yonkers doing his best, but there you see they were adjacent, not behind each other. The double Man of Steel winner, Paul Sculthorpe, 2 tries last week against Salford. He went through the 100 barrier then. They have 2 Centurions on the field now in Long and Sculthorpe in terms of tries.
But it's mainly due to his skills that Saints still have a lead. No, this will be cutting back the deficit surely from the hooker.
Bartrim adds 2 more points to Castleford's total. They're back within a try and a goal. It's 18-12.
Well, this is a reason why the penalty was given. Good positioning by Ian Smith, and you see the man circle, which is Sculthorpe. You have to stand directly behind each other, first and second markers. Well done, Ian Smith. He's coming on leaps and bounds, but I bet he wishes that he could get to the heights, heady heights of this man's quality and skill.
Stay behind, boys. Stay behind, guy.
Yeah, I said in commentary at Widnes, if there's a better athlete in the country in any game at the moment than Paul Sculthorpe,
No penalty.
I'd like to meet him.
No penalty. Hold.
And he's such a nice bloke as well.
Absolutely.
No edge to that fella.
This is Mellor. It's going to be difficult to handle.
Hold with me. Go.
Hudson.
You'll find it difficult, as I mentioned, in regards to Paul Wellens. When you're out for a while and you're making your debut, a lot is expected from you.
Paul Jackson to his feet, plays the ball to Wayne Bartrim. Here is Michael Smith for the Tigers. Stankovic stood his ground, helped out by Darren Britt.
See, that's a quality of the player like Michael Smith. See how he attracted 3 would-be tacklers.
Danny Orr now, that's a good ball. Gibson, he's got Rogers, and he also has Hudson inside him. That's a great kick. Oh, Wellens, he did well to tidy that up.
Good chase by the loose forward Hudson as well.
I think you're right though, Steve. I think Castleford with their kicking game, they're going to test Wellens out tonight.
My word. Rightly so, he'll be pushing for breath late in the game.
He did come back in the cup at Salford last week, but he's going to be a little bit rusty at this pace.
And we just saw there, I know we're giving the plaudits all to Paul Sculthorpe, but we just saw the man there just do the work of a prop forward, taking it out from his own line. He doesn't just hang around for the glory, he does his hard work.
The kick from long was just too deep.
He's offside!
Right now they can go because there was a man and the referee Ian Smith spotted him on the far side. I think it was Dale Fritz who was just standing offside. Castleford were looking for a quick tap. They can only take the quick tap in those situations now when all their players are back behind the ball.
It's important now that the Tigers just consolidate now. Don't do anything silly, just make sure they get through the set of 6. Good kick and chase.
18-12, they're anything but out of this.
Precisely, but they do not want to concede a try just before half-time. Psychologically, it'll lift the Saints, and they want to just go in there thinking, with only a converted try out of the game.
There's another little kick. Oh! It's come up for Wayne Price. It was on. Well, what is he doing? What has Wayne Price done?
Well, all I can think of is that Wayne Price thought that he'd got a penalty. Now, this is a mistake yet again, the second of the night for Darren Albert.
Gotta get up.
And he's got it, and he's got to get up and play the ball because the ball-carrying arm hit the deck.
And Albert has hold of him.
Well,
On the line.
he was definitely tackled.
Keith.
As you say, no movement, legs were pinned down. It was an awful bounce.
To be fair, if he struggled to get up and play the ball, Albert could easily be
got the
penalised.
penalty, yeah. That's inexperience for you, Eddie.
Oh, they're offside now on halfway.
Well, this is what they didn't want. And Castleford could have been pressing on the line of Saints before the break.
As it is, it's going to be St Helens who are going to test that line out at the other end.
You can see they were well in front, one of them especially.
And here's Sculthorpe looking for the try. He's over. Is he held up?
Held up.
He is. They'll get the head and feet at the scrum if they have time. Less than a minute to go. Castleford will be in no hurry.
Good work from Fritz. Muller did his utmost to make sure that the Saints star couldn't plump that ball down. That's great stuff. But now then, will Saints, with only seconds remaining, he's taking the stop the clock now. Now with seconds remaining, will they do a set move? Will Sean Long do the run around with Sculthorpe?
They've got time.
Sorry, I was waving time back on.
They've got time.
Heading right.
They have time for, well, if they get the ball in, they have time for almost a full set. They're going down the short side. This is Darren Albert.
Off him, Wayne!
And now Yonkers. 20 seconds remaining.
Boy, it was close. Ball carrying Albert not hit the deck. They were looking to get away with it. They'll swing it wide, surely.
It's with Long and Wellens. That's great defence. Shot out of the line, Michael Eager. Last 5 seconds. Long, bullet pass wide to Stewart.
Oh, wonderful play. Darren Rogers deliberately knocked the ball out of the hands of Stewart and denied him a try. Wonderful.
That's why Bartrim shakes his hand.
Absolutely superb defence from Darren Rogers. And boy, oh boy, it was Rogers that stopped the Tigers going at half-time and sucking on very bitter lemons indeed. But it'll be sweet oranges, they're still in the game.
Stewart so close, great defence from Rogers. Wonderful match unfolding here at Knowsley Road. The Tigers 10 up in a quarter of an hour, then cue the Saints fight back. 3 tries, they lead 18-12 at half-time. Now then, can Castleford begin the second half as they began the first?
Well, they'll certainly be looking for that, but the most they'll be looking for is that white ball. They need the possession. They know they're 6 points adrift. At But in with a great chance. Remember, they've got a good kicking game and a good chasing game with Danny Orr out there. But as Stuart Raper mentioned, they haven't made many clean breaks. Interesting to notice as well, the mistake rate was 7 to Saints, 2 to Castleford, and I must say, Eddie, 6 out of those 7 mistakes came in the opening 15 minutes.
Long with an angled dab, and that won't run dead. Gibson has got some work to do here. Good chase. Very important ankle tap by Sculthorpe, stopped the momentum. He was finished off by Tim Yonkers. Good run from Mellor. Great run from Mellor. Oh, this fella could be a star in the making for the Tigers. Price.
Well, we knew he was strong, and we knew his capabilities, and also we felt that it would take a while for him to settle in. But it's good to see that he's gone looking for the football. That was a great run.
Paul Jackson tackle. Let's get half-time news, Bill.
News from the Saints camp. The coach Ian Millwood pretty pleased with that first half performance from his side, but he's looking for a bit more patience. They know that this game isn't going to be one easy, that Castleford Tigers are going to make it difficult for them, and he wants his side just to work for field position and take the chances when they come their way. That's a great kick, and that's exactly what Graham Steadman is looking forward for from his side. The kick chase is just a bit disappointed that, having got off to a great start, they had a 10-minute spell where they just lost concentration, really, let Saints come back at them, and they really have got to put the pressure on Saints and hope for field position like they've got there.
Yes, they put the pressure on Sean Long. It was a definite forward pass.
Little doubt about it, Eddie. And
Stankovic was pretty forward as well.
Well, he knew that they'd been pulled up for it by the official Ian Smith. But that just shows you the quality of this side. They astound me. They really do astound me, to the St Helens. You know, why would you do something like that in your own quarter?
But it gives glorious possession to the Castleford Tigers, who are now just 5 metres away, and that was the first tackle, this set of 6. Here is Danny Orr. It's a good ball out wide, and Johnson took it, but Stankovic and Long were there to cover. Or again the dummy half. Here's Michael Smith. This fellow was the danger man opening moments of the first half. Great offload again, and Bartrim was nearly in, but it was Sculthorpe who got to. It wasn't Bartrim, it was Jackson. And here now is Bartrim.
Well, there's more trouble for St Helens. It looks like Darren Britt has picked up a knock. And good refereeing there. He was right in the middle of the play.
I've got to stop that when he's bleeding over here.
He did well, kept it alive, and then he just went crunch right into the face of the big fella Darren Britt. I can assure you that he has taken a few of those over the years. All a certainly mistake. It wasn't done deliberately, I can assure you. No, it's a knee.
Michael Smith's knee.
Yeah. And it's a rather large one.
Well, another injury problem for the Saints. And he's caught a real one there, as you can see. Here is Dale Fritz. Well, I make that Edmondson and Joint and now Britt who are struggling. Edmondson has returned though. Good kick. Well picked up by Darren Albert.
Wonderful positioning there. It was bobbing around. Not an easy one to take on the half volley.
Stuart Raper hit the nail on the head, you know, at half-time. He said the use of Ian Millwood's substitutes will be very, very interesting indeed in the second half.
Well, normally he is a man that's just played the ball as an advantage to come off the bench. But of course, that late switch saw Mickey Hyam start the game. He likes to bring Mickey Hyam on when the opposition's getting a little bit tired.
Kick through was by Long, it was flicked at by Rogers. Little fumble there as well, no knock on.
No penalty.
Just shows you the advantage if you don't get the ball on the full straight away. Those valuable 5 or 6 metres plays right into the hands of the attacking side.
Particularly when they're rushing up as quickly as Helens do. In fact, as quickly as all the teams in the Super League do these days. Fitness levels remarkable at the start of Super League 8.
Outstanding, and they amaze me week in, week out.
Michael Smith.
Maybe a change in tactics. This will be the kick and chase yet again. Danny Orr is in position for it.
Don't rule out the 40-20. No, it's a little dab over the top. Lennon read the script, so did Sculthorpe. Sculthorpe barging his way over the halfway line.
Good thinking as well. There was no sweeper there, and the quality of Sculthorpe read it, had to as well. But they're the type of tactics.
Oh, Long is on his back now.
Well, they're going down like 9 pins, aren't they? Well, if they come away with a win here, Saints, it will be remarkable.
Hyam, little dummy, then passed it wide to Stankovic. Long is back on his feet. He's joining in this attack now. And Castleford offside in the shape of Danny Orr.
I told you before, you was in front of it. You can't just not penalise because he's slow.
And it looks as though he's got a problem with the leg. He shouted out, and he, well, he acknowledged, didn't he? He actually acknowledged to the referee, yes, I know, sir, I know I'm offside. He made no attempt to get back, and he could pay a heavy price.
They've gone for the territory here, the Saints. They're going to run this. Here's Edmondson. Good drive towards the line.
Impresses me, this big fella.
Hyam, Long fit again. Here's Wellens. Good defence from Mark Lennon.
We haven't seen the step from Sean Long yet.
Here is Long at dummy half. It's with Sculthorpe. Now Newlove, who gets out of the clutches and touches down. Mellor couldn't hold on to Paul Newlove. And Newlove scores the try. First in 12 came against Salford last Sunday. And like the buses, Paul Newlove's tries come in pairs.
Well, I said it could prove very costly indeed. There you see him. He acknowledged the referee and then did nothing about it. You've got to go back to 10. If he'd taken a step back, it would have been okay. And from the resulting penalty, the big fella slipped through. Wonderful play there. There was nothing they could do about it. He was a little bit late to go through. And this guy is pretty strong. If you don't get the right target, if you don't hit him at the right moment, the big thighs will just push you away to one side. Been around a while.
He has former Great Britain international, former England international. Only 7 tries last year, the lowest number of his glittering career. Underway now in Super League. And Sean Long, well, impeccable with the boots so far. A couple of them have been way out on the touchline. That's easy for a man of that quality. 24-12. They're edging further clear.
Just shows you the advantage. You're sucking 2 players to the ball carrier. Once he offloads, you can see Newlove is on the outside. There was nothing they could do about it. Paul Mellor is a big fella, and if you don't go low, you don't get yourself in position, it's very difficult to stop a big man like Paul Newlove. That was a great try, but yet again came from a poor mistake.
That's a great run from Stuart Jones. Came to the club from Wigan, of course. Wellens plays the ball. Hyam. They've injected some pace here. Hooper got the ball away impossibly. Wonderful skill. Oh, Long, 101. They don't come much better than that. Second try of the night for Sean Long. Watch this lot get on a roll. As Stuart Raper said at half-time, they score in quick succession. And that's what Castleford had to stop. And they had no answer here.
Well, I made the point, didn't I? Why would you want to do things like this in your first half? I'll tell you why. Because they can just catch their opposition napping. And that is exactly what happened. It was Stankovic that took the ball here off this man Hooper. And the way that he just brushed them away, back on the inside, as every little halfback around the country, around the world knows. Follow them down the middle. It's like a squash court. When you hit the wall, it'll come back in. And boy, oh boy, watch this. This is how it bounces back. Good work from Hooper. Stankovic. Here it comes. And boy, isn't it wonderful to see this man back to full fitness. Second try tonight, as Eddie said, 101. All he needed was a 0 in front of the 2 fingers.
Long's try, 101 in his career now, second for the night. improved with ease. 13 points to 12. They've suddenly stretched away. Sean Long with the try. Sean Long with the conversion. Graham Stedman, his men have been hit by 2 quick tries. And he's just pondering now what to do to stop this St Helens machine. High kick. Sculthorpe's underneath it.
Right, hold with me, Andy. Hold with me. Hold, don't be too early. We go.
There's Sculthorpe at dummy half. More injury news from Bill.
Well, thankfully, Darren Britt, who came off looking very shaky with a knock to the face, is okay. I think he's going to have a shiner tomorrow morning just below his right eye, but I think he's okay. Everything seems to be in place, and he might be able to come back.
Great kick from Long. He's gone for a 40-20, and he's got it. Long is on top of his game, and he takes the high five from Sculthorpe.
Well, how many more things has he got in his bag of tricks?
We've just got to keep him fit, Steve-O, to face the Aussies. There's Darren Britt, an Aussie who's got a shiner developing under the right eye.
Doesn't look too happy, but I think perhaps he realises that he's going to have to be utilised. Cut face or not, he'll have to come back on.
Sculthorpe feeds the scrum. That's Wellens. Here's Long again. Bag of tricks. Darren Smith attacking the line. Oh! Big hit by Eager. Penalty.
Well, I think he's been badly done to there. It looked to me as though it was just a grab.
The first impact is definitely on the shoulder, but it's come up.
He's disputing the call.
He's played for that. You can't blame the winger to go through the Oscar. That was on the shirt. Even the referee admitted the fact the first contact was on the shoulder. But I think they've been badly done to there.
Hyam 10 metres away.
Long was looking for the second phase of attack. Certainly not coming. They're not using the crisscross like they did in the first half.
Double change by Castleford Tigers to try and halt this. On the bounce to New Love. He cuts inside Mellor again. This time Mellor gets it with a bit of help from Mark Lennon. Albert, quick play the ball. Yonkers.
Really takes it out of the defence when you've got big fellas like Yonkers just continually coming forward. Hyam going, it's close.
Last tackle, they're bang on the Tigers line. Jones the dummy half. Back it goes to Sculthorpe. Sculthorpe, flick pass. It comes up for him somehow. Crossfield kick, straight into the arms of Lennon. Danger averted for the Tigers.
You never know with a crossfield kick from Saints, do you? And they've given away a silly penalty. The young fella really sort of realised it. Lack of experience. He got penalised for it. You've got to roll away. Well, the Tigers need something.
They do, and so do Huddersfield. Leeds have regathered the lead. Quarter of an hour of the second half gone. A little bit ahead of us here. St Helens have taken this second half by the scruff of the neck. Fritz, but Castleford aren't out of this.
A little bit more running from dummy half by Wayne Bartram. They've got to try to confuse this St Helens defence, especially the first and second markers. They've got to work a little bit harder. We saw a little bit earlier on, the little chip over the top from Danny Orr. Maybe that could... Oh, that was forward of mine.
Referee and touch judge don't think so. I don't think that was played. I think he was on his knees when he played that. Anyway, Lennon offloads to Bartram. A little fumble. He went backwards. It's play on. And here is Danny Orr. Now it's with Dale Fritz. Great ball. Mellor. And he gives it back to Fritz. Good defence from St Helens again. Scrambling defence. Last one.
Good play by Castleford though. Keeping it alive. They're looking for it. They're trying everything.
Danny Orr. Good kick across the face. Picked up by Anthony Stewart.
Clear, no penalties, Lee.
This kid gets better, you know. Oh, silly penalty, they give away.
Lee Harlan, the referee shouted, no penalties, Lee.
Well, they're just not listening either. The concentration just dropped.
Just be careful, play the ball.
I'm just about to make the point, you know, Anthony Stewart, to me, every time I see this young kid play, he just improves and improves. He could turn out to be one of the best wingers we've had for many a day.
Yes.
What do you think, Phil?
He's got a very good chance there. He's in a good side, learning from good players around him. And the whole ethos really of St Helens is all about speed. To be successful in modern day, you need speed. And I'm not just talking about the ability to run faster than your opponents. At times, just St Helens have the ability to think that bit quicker, a reaction time sharper. Players seem to know where they're going, and Newland knows exactly that.
He's got Long, and what a night for Sean Long. Not only the 100th, now the hat-trick. 3 tries for Sean Long. That's why they pack him in on the terraces at Knowsley Road. This match being watched tonight by the biggest attendance for a league fixture since 1997, when the game was switched to Anfield, the home of Liverpool Football Club. And they're being treated to a great show.
Basic rugby league football, and have a guess who passed the ball back on the inside. Sculthorpe to Newlove. Newlove's strength yet again. Watch the pass, back on the inside. See how he dragged the defence across. Half a break, back on the inside. I'll repeat it again. Come down the middle, and you'd be surprised what you pick up.
Yeah, all right. All right, Steve, keep talking.
What a night for this fella. 18 points against Salford last week. Tries in each of the last 2, Widnes and Salford. Now 3 here this evening. Sean Long, one of Super League 8's finest. Exciting to watch, aren't they? And he adds the extras again. 36-12. To be fair, Castleford don't deserve to be on the end of that scoreline, but it could get a lot worse.
Basic rugby league football. Suck 2 in, look at the gap. Fritz fails to come in and fill that gap. He's off balance, can't get a good hit on the man. Look at the step, look at the support. They're running hot. They are going to hold on to this trophy by hook or by crook.
It's only the 3rd hat-trick of Sean Long's St Helens career, and it's the 2nd hat-trick of this season. He got 3 in a cup tie against UTC in the south of France not long ago.
Well, they have just bewildered the Tigers outfit. The opening 20 minutes, Castleford were in full control, and this is what you get.
He loves it.
He doesn't hide emotion. That was a big hit there.
It was. Mike Bennett felt that. But St Helens have this ability just to offload in the tackle, and in this mood, anything can happen here. Hooper out the back door to Smith. Well, they're a joy to watch.
They sure are, and the way that Jason Hooper at loose forward, he puts himself into the position, kick over the top.
Great kick, well watched by Danny Orr though.
Good sweeping there by the Tigers skipper.
Feel sorry for the Tigers, Steve-O. 36-12 doesn't really reflect, or does it?
Don't worry. Well, the way that they've scored the tries, they had to be worked, but they're just falling down at the Tigers in that simple, basic defensive pattern where 2 men are going for 1 man. Take 2 out, you're going to have the overlap somewhere down the line.
Nathan Sykes driving it hard up the middle, grounded on halfway.
Well, they've got to throw caution to the wind now, the Tigers.
Here's Maloney.
They've got to try to ensure that they lift their confidence. Okay, this game may be beyond them, but they've got to make sure that it's a long, hard season.
Ball stands up nicely for Anthony Stewart. 18 tough minutes for Castleford in this match. 3 and 8 minutes in the first half, 3 and 10 minutes in the second half.
High
shot here. There's a little bit of frustration creeping into Castleford's play. Well, that was a grab.
He's got a couple wrong as the official, but there was a late challenge. It was a grab on the collar, but there's a late challenge here. He's had a tough night. There's Michael Eager.
Here they come again.
Wonderful play by the winger, coming on the angle. Talk about confidence. They're full of it.
Mickey Hyam. He's got another here.
He'll go to the
Will he
screen.
go to take a look at whether there was an obstruction?
Shepherd. That's what he wants to look at, and I think there's a slight one. We mentioned the fact that normally this fella comes off the bench. Now then, did he stop Michael Smith's progress? Oh, he lunged for the man. Now, did he go for Michael Smith? That's the question the video referee is saying. Now, I think Michael Smith is deliberately going for the non-ball carrier. And this, he could have gone for Mickey Hyam. I think this try will be given. T-R-Y. Hyam's the name.
And the try is given. Smith's eye line, apparently, or the tackler's eye line was on the dummy runner. And he took the dummy, and Mickey Hyam took the 4 points.
Well, it was caught short there with Smith, mainly due to the fact that he made it quite obvious to the official and the video referee, as Eddie has just mentioned, that he was definitely going to go for the man not carrying the football. Well, he's fitting in very well indeed into this wonderful team, is Mickey Hyam. But what a night for this one.
He's kicking goals for fun, he's scoring tries for fun, and St Helens now 42-12 up.
Can't let him run. You can see Smith there is looking at the man, an on-ball carrier. Gardner gets flipped on his back while this fella knows it's 4 points. He knows it's touchdown. No doubt about the grounding. I mentioned the fact that Castleford were falling apart in their defence. Both first and second markers were slow away, and they both went the same way.
Well, he got 18 points last week, Sean Long, in the Cup against Salford. He's now got 26 points in the Tetleys Super League here against the Castleford Tigers. Fabulous effort, Phil.
You know, I've had the pleasure of watching Sean Long play 4 games this year, even so far, and he's just been at a different level, I think, to last season. It seems like at times in a professional athlete's career they just get into a zone where everything seems to go for them. I don't deny he's worked very hard to be in that position, but his kicking game's been fantastic. He's so sharp when he reads the ball, and he's directing and helping his teammates, his support players up there. Absolutely magnificent effort. You know, he plays some groovy dance music when they're waiting for the video referee's decision, and I think some of the St Helens players could almost dance to it. It's the footwork though that gets them through the line. He just looked how evasive Mickey Hyam was when he picked up that ball so quickly from acting halfback. That's what got him around Nathan Sykes, and then he also had the speed to get over the line. Great evasion.
They tell me you're pretty red hot on the disco floor yourself.
Well, I've been watching you, Steve-O. Picked up your all moves.
He's taught you all he knew.
Tell you what, it may have been your father, but you wouldn't, that's for sure.
Oh, it's on an old video, Steve-O.
Quarter of an hour to go at Headingley, 38-18. Leeds look as though they're going to maintain their 100% record. And here at Knowsley Road, I think Saints are going to as well, because they're on the hunt for yet more points. And New Love causing them trouble out wide. Forced into touch though, that's good defence.
Well, he looks calm, doesn't he? And why not, when he knows that every effort's gone pushing into him there. Good work by Paul Muller and his winger partner, Wayne Price. But they know it's been a hard road here. It could also have been different. Tigers controlling for the first 20. Sad thing about this game, if you're a Castleford player, the game lasts for 80 minutes.
But they started so well, didn't they? They really were out of the traps.
It's not how you start, Eddie, it's how you finish.
Exactly.
You know that.
Exactly. Johnson, Price. Good run, but well hunted down by Mickey Hyam. There's a Castleford Tigers player now injured in back play as Nathan Sykes drives it forward. It's Andy Johnson.
3!
Groggily trying to get to his feet. As Sykes plays the ball to Bartrim, it goes wide to Maloney and further wide in good hands. And how on earth did Darren Rogers take that pass in? But he did. It came from Gibson.
4! Hey, come on! 4!
Just behind him. Quality take in the end.
Maloney again pops the ball up. Lynch, who started the match in spectacular style for the Tigers.
Well, we've got to see a little bit more attack. There's Johnson groggily getting back into the line of attack. I'm just saying, Eddie, that was a wasted kick. It's Danny Orr and Mark Lennon the second half. They failed to take on the defence. You've got to try to confuse your opposition.
And the touch judge is on. He's seen something. They're getting very frustrated now. Castleford. Lee Harlan.
Touch judge said, just gave him a little one. Johnson sort of gave him something of a facial too. Well, most teams at 42-12, they'll be thinking we'll just grind it out. This mob, no way. There's plenty more entertainment coming, I can assure you.
There is. There's over a quarter of an hour to go. Joe, that could have been forward.
Certainly looked it.
The way they spin the ball wide. This is Albert.
So they do the hard work in the forwards and then they set up. But they don't know who's going to go into dummy half. Normally it's Hyam, but they can put anybody in there. And they're all capable of scooting away from the dummy half position.
Here they come down this channel again. This is Yonkers. He's got Newlove, and Newlove will get a second. Right behind the posts. They have cut loose. St. Helens have cut loose here tonight. They were rocked early. They were 10-0 down.
Outstanding play. The dummy runner from Wellens, and yet again the provider, the standoff, Paul Sculthorpe, who's taken the responsibility of the captaincy when joint went off. We talk about running the angles, but that was superb. First was the run from Paul Wellens as a dummy, which just hesitated the defence. He knows quality. Doesn't have to get excited after seeing that.
Well, that was Paul Newlove's 19th try for St. Helens against Castleford, and particularly sweet for Paul Newlove because, of course, he's a Featherstone lad, an ex-village to Castleford, and great rivalry. 48-12. 10-0 down. 48-2 since.
There you see it. First one, Wellens, watch him dummy to it. Watch him bring back the big fella on the inside. That is sheer skill. Yonkers has had a big game. Provides the second for Newlove.
Newlove with the try.
Movement! Hold him in! Go!
And they're not done, you know. Here they go again. This is Gardner.
Good tackle by Gibson, it had to be as well.
Oh, brilliant pass!
Sensational!
Jones! Stuart Jones! Another St. Helens try right out of the top draw, and Ian Millwood is laughing all the way to the bank. First try in Super League this year. Poor old Graham Steadman. They're irresistible.
Well, you'd have to say the man of the match when you scored a hat-trick has got to go to John Long. But this man, Sculthorpe, has been nothing short of outstanding. He has been everywhere. Watch this. Wonderful skills. Good play by Jones. And it just shows you how the way that these players in this red and white, they talk to each other. He's enjoyed it. And you know why? Because they would have practiced that so many times on the training paddock. And Sculthorpe, with all the experience, would have said to young Stuart Jones, come late, come on the inside. As soon as I get it, I'll flick it back.
Well, he made his debut as a substitute against the Kiwis last year, the former Wigan man. He was captain of the Alliance team. Just 8 appearances for the first team. Long here, 8 from 8. Make that 9 from 9, and that's 30-3-0 points in the match. for Sean Long. Guess who's going home with the watch? And I haven't got a vote.
Wonderful pass. Look at the gap. We said that Castleford would have a few problems. Few. Many. Good finish. But again, the build-up. Champagne stuff, this.
Well, Castleford would love the siren to come. But St Helens are in the mood just to run. Well, they have run riot. They're in the mood to keep this going.
Another advantage that this St Helens mob has.
Here they go again.
Is the fact that they look for work and they share it. They don't stand around and say to each other, I'm a star. They roll up their sleeves and give it to them.
Harlan penalised again. He's been done for a couple of high shots by the referee. Now he didn't get out of the way after the tackle was completed.
Well, you say it might be frustration, Eddie, but it's tiredness. They've had a lot of running around in this paddock, especially in the second half.
Well, they're trying to slow them down, for goodness sake. Who can blame them? Now then, what tricks do they have up their sleeve here? Hooper was nearly through. Lennon. Hyam scoots into dummy half. Wide it goes to Joint, who's back. Flick pass. Darren Albert grounded out wide. Joint, dislocated finger, remember. Jones offloads to Long. Ball on the bounce and off the knee of Yonkers. Flicked up then to Wellens. Wellens to Mueller. Mueller to Gardner. Great defence, Mellor.
Well, that's the second try saver from the big fella, Mellor.
He wants to have a look, though. He's handed it on to Steve Cross again.
Yeah.
I think he just squeezes him out.
Flag first, Steve, but just check it.
The big fella goes to him. Gardner did the right thing. He's diving. Has he got there before the leg? It's the whitewash. No. No, is it the corner post? This is no try.
Corner post is out.
Yep. Good effort there by Mellor. Full credit there to Gardner also. Knew the way to the line. Did the right thing, did Paul Mellor, in going for the upper torso. If he'd gone for the legs, it would have been a try, and it's there it is.
The referee is in the corner. They can't start without him.
Come on, guys.
They wanted to.
It's on his foot.
There's been so many stars, especially on the St Helens side, Eddie, today, but you know, there's been one guy out there working hard. His experience has been superb. It's Jason Hooper. He's been a wonderful link between the three quarters and the forwards.
Nathan Sykes. Well inside the last 10 now. Bounced off Lee Harlan. St Helens have got it back. They have Mickey Hyam. Dale Fritz, he's away from him. Joint is there. They're loaded out wide. Oh, Joint's pass only finds the touchline. It was begging for Anthony Stewart.
Well, it looked for all the world that the Saint skipper was going to go on his own. He's had a big game, hasn't he, Mickey Hyam? Been all over the Joint. Through the dummy. Did the right thing. You could see there that Darren Rogers had to come in midfield, and he was struggling to get back. And if he could have had that good pass, that would have been another try. Tell you what, Phil, I've seen St Helens come up with some wonderful performances, but I think this has to be the best I've seen for many, many a year.
I agree entirely with you, Steve. Well, they've just moved up to another level, and I feel very sorry for the Castleford coach, Graham Steadman. A tough day at the office is even harder when your office is full of spectator seating, and that's exactly what he's got. Thousands of people sat around him, seeing his best plans really being torn apart, and it's through no lack of effort, but just a quality. I don't think any team in this country at the moment would have come here and defeated this St Helens side. The more they score, the more irresistible they become, the confidence increases, and every single player wants to make himself available to pick up the ball, run into a hole, and maybe even look for an offload if he can't get through the line.
And you know, Phil, there's quite a few people, a lot of the fans think that our game, the modern game, is just a matter of barge forward with the forwards, kick and chase. We haven't seen a lot of that tonight.
No, we haven't here. This you see them at the best here now, back penetrating through. Hooper just held. You know, they do make it look very easy, and I suppose when you watch on television, you probably ask yourself, why doesn't every side do what they do? They just, at the moment, make it look that way.
Paul Sculthorpe took control of that situation then, and he very nearly fed Wellens. This is Newlove, and he flicked it into the arms of Wayne Price.
Well, you can afford to do that. 54-12. I must say, I just get a feeling this year that Paul Newlove is back to his best.
No movement, Jason.
Jason Hooper now is penalised for laying on, not making an effort to roll away after the tackle was complete.
No doubt about it. Maybe they're getting a little bit tired, and rightly so. They've been racing in for tries, for fun.
That's a good offload. This is Maloney.
Not that the Tigers will be smiling. The amazing thing is, Eddie, that this Castleford Tiger outfit came to Knowsley Road with only conceding one try.
Yes, the defence has been systematically taken apart tonight, but St Helens are very, very difficult to play against in this mood. Lennon, Danny Orr, can they get a consolation?
Well, I think that's the first time in the second half that Danny Orr has actually played the ball. It just indicates the lack of taking on the defence.
Mark Smith, oh, Long has got it. He's got support wide. Stuart Rogers did well.
How on earth did he get that? He must have had glue on his fingertips.
Two, come on! Darren, Danny Orr!
Joint to Hooper. Oh, they're just being a little over elaborate now. At 54-12. Why not?
Rightly so, and it's just indicates and shows quite openly that this Castleford defence has just fallen apart. Look at this. Tiptoe, tiptoe. Wonderful. All he needed was the tulips there.
Francis! This way.
He's
Jason.
stepped around them all tonight, hasn't he?
He's played very well.
Lee, head in.
They've been bewitching,
Out!
and poor old Castleford have been bothered and bewildered.
Chris! Hit me, hit me, hit me!
Michael Smith.
Sue, hold with me, hold with me.
John Stankovic with the tackle. Notice the red flash in Stankovic's hair. To the Freddie Lumbergs of Arsenal there, Steve-O.
Who?
That's
I
three.
knew it.
Hold with me. Go
I knew it.
Jason. Go.
Forward a mile for Nathan Sykes.
Isn't that a boiled sweet?
40-28. The Rhinos' 100% record intact, but a mighty shock for them against the Huddersfield Giants.
It's been a hard night at the office for this fella. A lot of responsibility on his shoulders, of course. He's the captain. His kicking game is normally spot on. It certainly was in the first half, should I say. But they're out on their feet, the Tigers. They have had to do a lot of defending. When you look at the amount of tries that they've scored in the second half, 6 is pretty impressive.
Yes, Francis. Well done, mate.
Here's Chris Joint.
Clear. Go with me.
That hand bandage there tells the story of the dislocated finger he suffered first half. That's Mike Bennett.
Hey, Danny Orr!
Well, even in the final minutes, the Saints players are queuing up to take the ball, take the responsibility, chip over the top as it know it's out wide.
And here they come again. This is Darren Albert. Flick pass back. Stuart has it, but it was a knock-on.
Knock-on by St Helens. It doesn't matter, the view I got, it looked like a knock-on from Saints.
Good defence. As Eddie has mentioned earlier, that such a convincing scoreline, you can
Darren,
test your arm. Had a shaky start, Albert, but certainly come back into the fold. But this really has thrown down the gauntlet to all the other Super League sides.
Yeah, it's a long season, a long road to Old Trafford in October, but be a brave man to bet against St Helens. And remember, this remarkable home record in the weekly rounds continues. They won all their home fixtures last year. The last team to beat them on this ground in the weekly rounds, Leeds. was a long, long time ago as well. It was September 2001. Here is Fritz now. Last one for the Castleford Tigers. Can they get a little bit of consolation? That will all it will be. Maloney with the high kick. They might get it. No, Stewart takes the ball over the dead ball line. Drop out underneath the sticks.
Good option, the high ball.
No, he's not caught it.
They were going for it, wasn't it?
Hey.
Oh, good play though.
Go on.
Stewart to the rescue yet again. A lot of people think that great future for him, but I get the impression he's arrived already.
Now, was that a knock on?
It looked
by
as though
Michael Eager.
Yeah, Eager certainly knocked it first. I don't think they're into nitpicking at a scoreline like this.
Well, not 54-12. No. Lynch is feeling the effects of his night's endeavours, and it started so well for him.
I think if it was 10-all, Eddie, he'd have gone to the screen.
Maybe so.
I know so.
Lennon to Maloney. And this is Smith. Mind you, why would he have gone to the screen, Steve, if Castleford hadn't grounded the ball?
He would have still gone to the screen.
He can't. Lennon. Or this is Mellor. Done a good job on him. Paul Newlove. He will be an asset though for the Tigers. Mellor. Last throw of the dice. High kick to the in-goal area, and it's palm dead. St Helens have won. The coaches shake hands. The players will now shake hands. The Saints have done it again. They gave the opposition a 10-point start inside the opening quarter of an hour. Then they put their foot on the gas, and the Castleford Tigers in the end had no answer, I'm afraid, to the pace and the power. Graham Steadman's men, they started so well. Joint left the field, dislocated finger, came back on, was there at the end. Tigers have played their part in an entertaining match, but it's men like Sean Long, Paul Sculthorpe have really caught the eye. Now then, tomorrow evening on Sky Sports 1 with the Tissot watch, he's talking now to Bill.
Sean, congratulations, 30 points in the match, century up in tries, great night for you and the Saints.
Yeah, you know, it's always happy to get on the score sheet, but I thought it was a great team performance tonight. Defence was really good, and I just finished off the tries, to be honest.
Well done. Congratulations on a man of the match performance.
Cheers, Bill.
Let's bring the man with the red flash in, John Stankovic, who had an outstanding game, but where did you get that hair?
Well, it's something that the other lads have got to keep up with me now. I've set the standard with the haircut. Mark Edmondson thought he was the top man, but no, I've brought this out the bag now.
And that was a great second half performance from Saints, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, we've worked hard all week, and on the night the things that we worked hard on have paid off.
Well done.
Cheers, thank you.